It's the Eastside Thanks Football Podcast. Today is Saturday, October 22nd. I'm Nick Testoni, joined by my co-host, Joe Briner. Joe, I got my first win in the books, but let me tell you, I don't know who I'm playing at running back this week, so it should be an interesting one. Not much more to say about that. It is nice to be 1-5, but
I tried to give you Jeff Wilson.
no, I don't want him.
I know. I'm shopping him right now for whoever hears this. Jeff Wilson on the block.
Joe, you're 4-2?
I am 4-2.
Pretty good. How you feeling right now?
Feeling pretty good. I was going to mention it a little bit later, but bye weeks are definitely upon us this week. This is a huge bye week, so not having Diggs in the lineup will, of course, be a hit this week. I am against Soup this week. We'll get into it a little bit more, but I'm feeling pretty good, 4-2. Nothing I can really complain about. Looks like Devontae Adams will not forgo any sort of suspension this year. So that's good as well. Excited for week 7.
Week 7 buys, Rams, Vikings, Bills, and what's the one I'm forgetting right now?
Eagles
on bye. Four pretty
huge
big powerhouse teams for fantasy.
And in the NFL, but
yeah.
still.
So none of those teams this week. So 2 less games in our Sunday preview. But let's get right into the news, Joe. I got Dak Prescott, who's had a full practice today and yesterday, I believe. So it looks like he's a full go for this Sunday. Kenny Pickett practiced in full the last 2 days. So it looks like he's going to get out of concussion protocol, and signs point to him being able to start Sunday night against the Dolphins. I don't think that was what we originally thought. So we'll see how that goes, because
I think Pat Freiermuth falls into that same category, because I believe he's looking to be a go after full practice on Wednesday, looking to be good for Sunday night.
And Freiermuth missed last week. So
yes, with the concussion.
2 weeks for Freiermuth. Darren Waller, his second miss. He left that game 2 weeks ago after about the first drive, and obviously the Raiders were on bye this past week, so he's had a long time to kind of recover. The quote, I believe, was, "You don't want to rush these type of injuries." I think it was a hamstring. Very interesting, because he's had a while to kind of sit and heal up, but no practice for Darren Waller. Looks like maybe no Darren Waller.
Yeah, it can't be a good sign after a bye. You're still not practicing during the midweek, like game planning type practices, so that's not looking good.
Jonathan Taylor is back at full practice. Nyheim Hines also returned. Not good for Deion Jackson.
No, it is not.
What a lovely
the RB1 last week.
What a lovely surprise he was for me last week, but does not look like he will have a role, if anything, in this next week 7. Russell Wilson's been limited.
They said this is a real injury, I believe the quote was.
Well, it's always a bad sign when you have to say it's a real injury, opposed to a fake injury, which he would never have. Did you hear his quote? He's like, he heals quickly. He's like the Wolverine.
Yeah, we saw how quickly he healed last year when he came back early from the thumb injury, and Russell Wilson was on a tear the first half of the season, I believe, until that thumb injury, and then came back, and that's when Poopy Russell Wilson has started, and we haven't seen him back to full form yet.
Very interesting for Russell Wilson. They did say they're preparing for all 3 of their guys to play. I don't know why the third guy would be, but Brett Rippon is the backup. Jahan Dotson, Joe, re-aggravated the, I believe, hamstring.
Hamstring, yes.
He had missed last 2 weeks, or just one?
I think the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I think he'll be out this week too. It's kind of reminds me of like a Keenan Allen thing.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
He was out there running routes, and I think he re-aggravated the hamstring, so probably no Jahan Dotson with this setback for week 7. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews have not practiced this week. Mark Andrews a little more surprising. Dobbins obviously missed the second half of last week's game against New York. The knee tightened up, coming off a major injury. Mark Andrews,
also a knee.
It was a knee.
I saw Harbaugh was saying that they were just giving him a rest day on Tuesday, but he did not practice again on Wednesday. I do not have the report for today when we are recording. Did not practice Thursday as well, so that's definitely something to look at. I did pick up Isaiah Likely, actually. I'm out. My new job, I have to do carpool for the kids, and I just walked out to carpool, and I picked up Isaiah Likely as I'm walking out to carpool to start waving cars in to come pick up their kids.
Wow, Joe, man of the people, Joe Briner. Mac Jones, they stated Mac Jones is the starter. There is no QB controversy. They said when he's healthy, he will
Zap,
play.
zap, zap, zap.
Mac Jones, the last thing I read, is expected to be available for Monday against the Bears.
Huh.
I don't think anyone's starting Mac Jones. I don't think
No.
anyone's starting Bailey Zappi, but is there a drop off there with the pass catchers, or
That's what
is
I
it
was
just
gonna.
about the same?
That's what I was gonna mention. If anything, Jacoby Myers is the guy that's getting played. I mean, he's done it now with both guys, so I don't really think it matters, to be completely honest. Like, I don't think it matters which one plays. You might lean Zappy, honestly, just since he's the fully healthy guy at the moment for Jacoby Myers. For Wills is probably, I would assume he would hope Zappy plays. Running wise, either one of them could stick it in Ramondre Stevenson's gut. Even though I will mention this, I don't know if you have this on here. Damian Harris was a full participant in practice. Super weird, considering they thought this would be a multiple week injury. But then again, this whole time Mac Jones has been practicing as well. Not always full, but he's still been practicing. So New England, they do it a little different, it seems like.
They must be doing something different. Well, they have been for a long time. They win a lot. Not without Brady, but you know, Belichick likes to keep everybody on their toes.
No, of course.
I will say also that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both were limited on Wednesday, full on Thursday. In fact, Jamar was actually limited on Thursday. T. Higgins was bumped up to a full practice on Thursday. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I actually just saw T. Higgins' injury designation disappeared because I just got an ESPN thing that said T. Higgins bumped up to active. So that's a great sign.
Static. And then I believe Rashad Bateman did return to practice yesterday in limited fashion. Trying to see if there's anything, if they release anything for today, but it doesn't look like it. So maybe Rashad Bateman returns in week 7. The Ravens, I mean, the passing games looked a little rough without him.
Yeah. There's definitely a role for him if he can get back. I'm sure the Ravens are hoping that he can play this week, but also not trying to push it.
Pretty good matchup. The Browns have not been the best defensive team this year. No. So, I mean, it would be an upgrade at least for Lamar in the passing game. Bateman still has not been the big target guy I think a lot of people thought he was going to be, but definitely a help for Lamar. That's all the news I got, Joe. You want to get on the Monday Night Football recap?
I do.
And where else will we go but to the Broncos?
To Denver.
So another primetime game. I believe this was their last one. Except they do have
in LA, actually. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
So we're not going to Denver, but Denver, of course, primetime game.
The Broncos, they lose again. They're 2-4. The Chargers improve to 4-2. So the Broncos in 6 weeks have played 4 primetime games. They are done, but they do have a early game, I believe, in Germany coming up against the Jaguars. So if you wanted to, you can avoid that one, theoretically. You don't have to wake up
sleep through it. You can, exactly.
Russell Wilson looked bad again. They were really flaming him on the broadcast.
Yeah, I know.
Missed a couple guys. There was one throw. Now, him not being able to read is a different story. That's weird. But there was a throw that I thought was intended for someone else, and he was trying to throw. It looked like straight up the seam at Jerry Jeudy, and it was no pressure, easily 15 to 20 yards short of him. That's not even leading him.
Something's just up.
So we knew he was doing with the lat. Now apparently he picked up a hamstring injury. So that's where the process comes to where they called it a real injury. 15 to 28, 108 yards and a touchdown. This team.
And he started the craziest thing. He started like 10 for 10 with like 100 and some yards in the first quarter. The first quarter had the touchdown of Greg Dulcich, broken play kind of, but still. I'm assuming, I mean, I had just traded Russell. I thought I traded away all the bad and traded, and which turned into goodness because it started in the first quarter with the touchdown pass. He had like 9 points going into the first quarter, and I think he finished with like 10. So
I believe it's 2 or 3 first downs total for the Broncos from the second half on, and this game went into overtime.
Disgusting. Yeah, I know. Chargers win it. They should have won this game. Not that they looked great offensively, but they deserve to. They deserve to win the game. Yeah, Herbert seemed a little bit off too. I think he's really missing Keenan Allen. That offense hasn't necessarily clicked. Yeah, he has been dealing with the rib cartilage too. But I mean, Austin Eckler still looks great. Found the end zone a bunch. Yeah,
I mean,
Good for the
Latavius
Chargers.
Murray became the bell cow of this backfield. 15 carries for 66 yards. Melvin Gordon had 3 carries for 8 yards, never went back in the game.
Yes. There was talks about how Nathaniel Hackett and Melvin Gordon had a talk about this, and that said he will be getting the start this upcoming Sunday. So I
Yes,
know
that
that
was
you have
announced.
Latavius in the starting lineup this week, but
I don't.
we'll see how that workload. Oh, did
Yep.
you change that?
No, I have no one else, so it's
Oh
not going to
yeah.
change.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I'm going to
But
lose this week.
I was just saying that we'll see kind of how that split goes because I would assume Latavius still gets some work, but Melvin at least is going to get the all right, you've been the guy. I mean, it's just crazy if you think about it. Melvin Gordon, this is the same guy that was causing Javonte Williams to not break out. They were still giving Melvin Gordon these touches. And then Melvin Gordon is finally gets the opportunity to be that guy. And they decide Latavius Murray's going to get the ball 15 times. And Melvin Gordon, go ahead and pop your helmet off. You're not getting in the game. You can
He
stay
wasn't
on the
on. He wasn't on
sidelines.
the team more than 2 weeks ago. He had
Yeah.
15 carries for 66 yards. The next closest in carries, as far as running backs go, was Gordon with 3. Russ took off 4 times. Greg Dulcich,
Finds the end zone.
little bit of a he had a little bit of a buzz coming in the preseason. Makes his debut, 2 catches, 44 yards, hit a touchdown grab. Albert Okwuegbunam. I know how to
Yep.
say it now.
Nice. I was gonna say.
Healthy scratch.
I learned how to say it on the Monday night. Is that when you learned when they said it a bunch?
Well, they said it wrong a bunch
Oh, what
on
did
the
they
Monday.
say?
I don't know, but it was not right.
Oh,
I've
okay.
learned it earlier, but he was a healthy scratch. So, I mean, he's done.
Yep.
I mean, it's Greg
If
Dulcich.
Dolchich, yeah, it's
Andrew
his
Beck is in there a lot, but Dulcich seemed like he had some. He looked good. He looked good running his routes and catching the football. Not that there was a lot to go around. Jerry Judy threw for 54, led the way. I mean, Cortland
yeah.
Sutton 2 for 14.
Russ spread it all over the place. It wasn't good, but everything that he did complete was all to different guys. I think he was 9 for 9 on his first 9 attempts to 9 different pass catchers. So you don't love to see that, but at the same time, you haven't seen like this low of a floor from Cortland Sutton yet this year. So I'm not necessarily concerned about that. I think that it changes considering the offense moves better when you throw the ball to your best 2 guys like Jared Judy and Cortland Sutton. So I'm not too stressed about that.
Always allowed to talk about the Broncos. Just
Yeah.
Justin Herbert didn't have the best day. No touchdowns. Threw the ball 57 times. Had an interception. Eckler looked good. Josh Palmer 9 catches, 57 yards. Had a couple drops though. And then Eckler obviously 10 catches. Unbelievable. Mike Williams gave
Yeah.
you his Mike Williams performance
As usual.
so he would have been. We did it beforehand, but he would have been Tyler of the week.
And he was on a back-to-back soups of the week, so he was definitely due for a Tyler's of the week. It just makes sense. Every single week he's on that. He's his name is getting said in that segment, one way or the other.
He did regress to the mean. So Chargers are 4-2, Broncos 2-4. That was the Monday Night Football recap. No trades to talk about. It's been a
Well,
quiet
yeah,
on the old front
I
for a
will
while.
finish up one thing. Considering 4-2 and 2-4, I am now 4-2 because me and Bryce's matchup went down on Monday night. Bryce is now 2-4, just like Chargers and Broncos. You are now 1-5. Shout
I
out to
am.
you for the first dub. Diego is now 4-2. Those are the 2 fantasy matchups that came down to Monday. Like you said, no trades this week. As of now, could still happen. I've sent out a few trades. Haven't had any responses yet, but sent out a few. Actually, you did respond. Um, let's go ahead and hop into the fantasy matchup preview.
Go ahead, take it away, Joe. I don't think I'm going to win this week, but please lay it out for me.
All right. I do look at mine when I go to matchup, so we're going to go ahead and start with me. I am facing Soup this week. We both have some big names on bye. Soup has, I mean, his team is massacred by bye this week. Dalvin Cook, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, all on bye.
Alexander Madison.
Alexander Madison on bye as well. And Darren Waller's probably not going to play. Those are his guys on his bench. He will be starting Michael Carter, Naeem Hines in the running back room with Jared Goff at quarterback. So I'll go and highlight the studs, just mentioning those guys. It's like, no, I'm just playing. But he does have Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins finally getting into the lineup. DeAndre will be playing tonight. Soup just Snapchatted me, actually. What up, Soup? Yeah, David Njoku in the tight end spot. He's at a 124 projection. We're both kind of low this week considering our buys. I'm highlighted by 3 running backs in the lineup this week. I got Zeke, Kenneth Walker, and Ramondre Stevenson. They all have good matchups on paper. See how it goes. Wide receivers, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Adams, with Tom Brady at the quarterback position. Really hoping Tom Brady can turn into what he was last year because I traded for him. Obviously, I do have Kirk Cousins on bye. I don't know who's going to get the start going on. If Tom doesn't perform this week, might turn into a Kirk Cousins show. Yeah, Stephon Diggs on bye, as well as Darrell Henderson for me. My projection's 129, so I'm projected to win by a little bit here. We'll see what happens. Good luck, Soup. Next matchup is your matchup, actually.
Oh boy.
Bryce Vogel versus Testoni here. Bryce's projection is a little higher at 129 to your projection at 112. You obviously have some RB struggles right now. Bryce has some RB struggles as well. Antonio Gibson and Clyde are getting the nod for him today. He did bench Melvin Gordon, who he also has. Patrick Mahomes, his locked-in QB1. His wide receivers and tight end is kind of where he shines. Mike Evans, Mike Williams, and Mark Andrews. He also is giving Doo Sniff the flex play this week because Tyler Higbee is on bye for him, who he has been playing in the flex. Doo Sniff. And on your squad, you do have the Joe Burrow T. Higgins stack. That is definitely the shining light of your squad here.
The only light.
J.K. Dobbins, we'll see if he plays in your RB spot, as well as Latavius Murray. A.J. Brown, your wide receiver one-ish, considering you have T. Higgins as well, is on bye this week, as well as James Conner is probably not going to play, who would be in your RB spot.
Mm-hmm.
You also have Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, Dalton Schultz back on your squad. He's back. He's probably going to get the start with the week. Yep, against Detroit. I already said the
projection. Unless I want Conk Goose to run it back.
You could go with that, but that hasn't worked out well with Zach Wilson yet. Nope. So yeah, Bryce projected to win that one as of now. We'll see what happens. Good luck to the boys. Sam Smith and Diego. Sam Smith projected to come in third in the league, but he is sitting at a 2-4 record right now against a 4-2 Diego. His projection is 21 points higher, Sam Smith's is, because he has three great running backs, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and Breece Hall. He traded for Breece Hall before the true breakout, and he's now the RB6 on the season, so definitely get some highlight for that. Justin Herbert, who's been not exactly what you've expected, having a couple bad weeks this year, when last year I don't think he really had any. He also has Amari Cooper, Jalen Waddle, and Kyle Pitts is getting the start. He could play Taysom Hill tonight, but he's not gonna. Kyle Pitts getting the start after the touchdown last week. Diego, highlighted by DeAndre Swift getting his first start on his squad. CeeDee Lamb is also getting the start in his wide receiver position with Brandon Cooks and Corey Davis in the flex. Cooper Kupp is on bye this week. So is Matthew Stafford. I don't know if he would start Stafford or Heineke, because Taylor Heineke will be his quarterback, but the Rams on bye, so his number one pick, Cooper Kupp, thanks to the auto draft, is not getting the start. His other running back, Travis Etienne, his tight end is TJ Hawkinson. So that projection is 147 to Sam Smith. Great projection there, to 126 for Diego. Next up, Derek Titano versus Jackson Edelman. Derek is a little underdog here by about 14 points for the projection. Derek is riding with Geno Smith. He has been for a while now. He has Sleepy Joe and B-Rob Brian Robinson in the running back position. He also has the Geno Tyler Lockett stack with Tyler Lockett in the wide receiver position since
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel in there as well, with Michael Gallup in the flex. He has Devin Singletary on bye, as well as Hollywood Brown just made it onto the IR. So yeah, Travis Kelce is obviously his first round pick in the tight end position. That's where he kind of punches back with having that tight end spot where a lot of guys are lacking. So that is his squad there with 131 projection, facing up current first place man Jackson Edelman, 145 projection. I wonder how much Brian Brooks really has to do with this first place team right now. You got to assume that Brian Brooks has been putting in a lot of those trades that Jackson made this year. So shout out to Brian Brooks.
Similar to how Sam James
exactly
really in there grinding.
Yes. So Jackson's highlighted by three stud running backs. I mean, Josh Jacobs has really proven it so far this year. He's got Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, and Josh Jacobs is in the flex, as well as Justin Jefferson's on bye this week. So he is still going to go with DK Metcalf and Chris Godwin. Obviously, still two good options there. I know he'd love to have Jefferson, but DK and Godwin getting the start with Kittle in the tight end position, who really had a George Kittle week last week, even caused a fumble. That's just a George Kittle week. He also has Kyler going tonight, Thursday night. I know he's been a little underwhelming, so hoping Kyler can step
Still a
up
top
for him
10
on
QB.
Thursday. Yes, he is. I mean, the QB position hasn't been that good. If
No,
you
it's
don't
been
have
brutal.
Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, you're not really ecstatic with how it's been going.
Yeah.
So that projection is 145 to 131. I think I already said it. Jackson's projection by 14 points to win there. Andrew Atkins versus Will Spano is the next one here. Andrew Atkins currently projected to win by 30, but Spano doesn't have a quarterback or a linebacker in play yet. He also doesn't have a backup quarterback on his roster.
Yeah,
So
I was talking to him on the phone today, and he said he was really thinking about playing Josh Allen this week.
I'm sure he just doesn't, maybe he just doesn't want to drop somebody. I don't know. But Josh Allen's on bye, who's his quarterback, as well as Bobby Wagner's on bye, who is his linebacker. Atkins, let's go to his roster real quick. He's been riding with Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback 20 on the season. He's been riding through thick and thin. He had 4 weeks of 16 points in a row, which doesn't kill you. I mean, that's fine, but 3.7 and 11 points the other 2 weeks. He also has David Montgomery, Nick Chubb as his running backs, with Jamar Chase, Debo Samuel, Chris Olave as the wide receivers and flex. Dallas Goedert's on bye this week. No offense, getting the plug and play at the tight end position. I'm sure he's not in love with that, but got to do what you got to do. I already said the buys for Spano, but he does have Najee Harris and Damian Pierce in his running back position. Damian Pierce, running back 14, and he's already had his bye week.
Hot topic this week. A lot of people think he's gonna go off against this Las Vegas defense.
Yeah, we're gonna
He's
mention
got
him
high
in our,
projection.
yeah, he does 18.5 points. We're gonna mention him in our next segment as well. He has some kind of underwhelming wide receivers so far this year with Terry McLaurin, Drake London, and George Pickens in the flex. Hayden Hurst in the tight end position at the moment. Yeah, I mean, his projection will go up. It'll probably be about a 5 to 10 point favorite instead of a 30 point favorite by the time he plugs in guys for Atkins to win, but we'll see what happens there. And coming in at the caboose, we have Jake Wills versus Andy Collins. This projection is 134.3 for Jake Wills, 134.0 for Andy Collins. Jake Wills flying under the radar a little bit, sitting at second, tied for second in the standings at 4-2. Hooked on a Thielen. Will not have Adam Thielen in the lineup this week, considering he is on bye, as well as Gabe Davis is on bye as well. So Jake Wills is riding with the double tight end. He's got big Pat Fryermuth in the tight end spot with big Bob Tunyon in the flex spot this week. Riding with Brandon Ayuk and Jacoby Myers in the wide receivers. I'm kind of going from lowest to highest here, because then here's where he gets you. Leonard Fournette, Austin Eckler, that is the RB5 and RB1 on the season right now. And Lamar Jackson with a 26-point projection.
No, is
A
that really what it is?
26.0 projection. Lamar
That's
Jackson in
ridiculous.
his quarterback
He's had
position.
a bad couple of weeks.
I know, the QB2 on the season still. So crazy. On the flip side, with the 134.0 projection, this roster, you only see one Q right now when you're usually not seeing that. He does have some bye weeks. Not that I don't think any of them would play. Maybe Devonta Smith would play if Keenan Allen does not. But also Aaron Donald, Allen Robinson on
What a
bye.
roster.
Yeah. But Dak Prescott's back. He's in the lineup immediately. Jonathan Taylor is back in the lineup immediately. He also has Aaron Jones in the running back slot. He is colded up. We know that. We've known that since the draft. Michael Pittman getting the start. Allen Lazard in the wide receiver. Zach Ertz, the tight end 3, who's just been getting it done. 10, 10, 11, 15, 16, 14 have been his weekly outputs. What more could you really ask for in a late round tight end? You know, nothing, to be honest. He does have Keenan Allen in the flex.
Maybe a cool name like Con.
I assume if Keenan Allen does not play, that Kareem Hunt would probably get the flex play, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. So yeah, I mean, Andy's sitting at 2-4 right now. I already mentioned Jake Wills at 4-2. We'll see what happens there. Good luck to everybody this week. Starts
Now, wait a
tonight.
minute. Are we going to talk about the fact that hooked on a Thielen? Adam Thielen's on bye.
Yeah,
So does the whole team take a bye? Or maybe
I mentioned that, so that's possible. You know, I mentioned Adam Thielen won't be playing this week. He is on bye.
he's not playing at all. It's not even like he's just not in his lineup. He's
Yeah,
just not
so
going to be there. So what is the rest of the roster?
I don't
They
know.
take a look at that and they go,
I think he broke the curse. So I think his roster's fine because he broke the curse last week.
"You're right."
Adam Thielen was in the roster, 4 for 36. He got a touchdown to save the day. I mean, and a 2-point conversion. Ended up with 15.6 fantasy points. And he got the win last week. So I think he broke the curse. The curse of the Bambino is indeed finished. Hooked on the Thielen is back to just being a normal fantasy team anymore. He's not cursed of Adam Thielen. So good for Jake Wills, And that's the fantasy matchup preview right there.
Let's get to our starts and sits of the week. Joe, I'll let you go first because at least your sit, I see what you're doing there. You're doubling down. Because you picked the running back playing that defense last week, and I was looking
Yep.
at him. Good pick,
Yep.
but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I am doubling down on the sit, but my starts of the week, Damian Pierce, we mentioned him playing Las Vegas, dude. They just bleed fantasy points to really all positions,
They
but
bleed silver and black.
you know that they're going to want to give Damian Pierce the ball 20 times. So I think it's a smash play for Spano. I think what did Spano draft him in like the third round last
Fifth.
year? Was it the fifth or
Maybe the fourth.
this
I was
draft?
looking at his roster pick today. He's a rookie. He can't be too much older than me, but man, that he looks like he's 35 years old in this roster pick if you get a look at
Yeah,
it.
he does. I'm looking at it right now. He does look like an old man,
He
but I
does.
mean, he's a stud. Like I said, RB 14 on the year with his bye, so that is huge. He's my start of the week, and my other start of the week at the wide receiver position, your man T Higgins. He is a Clemson man. I know you love that even more. Playing against Atlanta this week, they have the 28th ranked defense for pass catchers, and I think T Higgins just getting more healthy. I mean, he was limited. He only played 86% of the snaps last week, and he was 6 for 9 with 47 yards. So I mean, he got the double digits, but just being healthy and having it not be the full Jamar Chase show, T Higgins usually still matches him in targets like week for week. I think T Higgins is a smash play this week as well.
My starts, I got two guys, running back, wide receiver. I'm going to go first Zeke. So Zeke had a rough
Hey,
start.
me and you, buddy, picking each other's players.
I really like his match. First of all, he's playing Detroit this week, which
Yep.
anybody. Detroit's so fun to watch this year. They're 1-4. They cannot play defense. So Zeke in a good matchup. I know Tony Pollard's been like the good change of pace back, but the Tony Pollard conversations have been going on for 5 years, it seems like. And Tony Pollard is never going to get the workload by himself. Zeke has actually looked pretty good. He looked very good against Philly in the second half. I mean, I believe he was at 83 rushing yards in, I don't know, I remember maybe like 13, 14 attempts against the Philly
I think he
defense.
had 15 carries.
That's pretty good and got into the end zone. I like what I saw from Zeke, except for that dumb helmet he's wearing. So I think Zeke's very usable this week against Detroit.
Actually,
And
13 for 81. You were right on it first time.
that's a great output against Philly. And a lot of
Yeah.
it came in the second half, but still counts. Those guys are playing. The other one I got is Alan Lazard. Sorry, I'm going to hurt your feelings. Alan Lazard has caught touchdown passes pretty much all year. I think at every game he's played except for one. I don't think he played week 1, so take that out. He's been Rodgers' guy, and I think the Packers have a get back week. They're playing a defense that stinks. You may know them as the Washington Commanders. I'm
They
sorry,
stink.
Joe.
They
I'm sorry,
stink.
Joe, but they can throw all over them.
They stink,
And I
man.
actually think Aaron Jones can have a pretty good day, but I think Lazard can get into the end zone and have a good week. My sit, I'll just go real quick. Amari
Yep.
Cooper. I really like Amari Cooper. He gets great share in the targets. They're playing Baltimore. I'm gonna tell you right now. I know they had the big blow up against the Dolphins. The other two games, not necessarily more of a team effort thing. If you go look at the stats that Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey are allowing this year, they are playing very well, especially Marlon Humphrey. And I just don't see they're going to be focused on stopping the run. I just don't see how Amari Cooper, he's either going to be matched up against one of those two, no matter what side he goes on. I don't see Amari Cooper having a very good. I think he'd be sub 10 points this week. Can I make a board bet? We haven't made one in a week,
Hell
in a
yeah,
while.
do it. I know we haven't done that in a while. Here
Amari
we go.
Cooper does not hit double digit fantasy points this week.
So you're saying Amari Cooper will, in fact, be a Tyler of the week next week?
Yes.
Put it on the board, baby. Let's go. My sit of the week, David Montgomery. I'm going back to the well, playing the Patriots defense. The Patriots defense shuts down these running backs. They are the fifth best or fifth worst, I should say, matchup you want to be playing in fantasy for your running backs. David Montgomery, he should still get the work, but I think that New England will be able to shut him down. I made the call last week. It was the New England defense against Nick Chubb. I think the same thing happens for David Montgomery. And it's Monday night, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think David Montgomery will be a sit of the week. I think he'll be a Tyler also. I think he's probably going to be in the single digits. As long as he doesn't find the end zone, there's no way that he gets the 10 fantasy points this week.
The starts and sits of the week. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with our Sunday preview.